Camera Crash Course. Today I'm going to be talking to you about buying a DSLR camera as your first time camera. So this is going to be related to your first time purchase of a DSLR camera. Should you buy a used camera or should you buy a new entry-level camera? So what I mean by this is when you go to buy a camera, you're probably going to see that the bodies are costing in the $2K area. So a professional camera body is going to cost you probably between $1,500 to $3,000. And if this is your first time DSLR camera, this is a really bad deal for you. You're going to get scammed so bad. I mean, you're not going to be scammed really, but when it comes down to it, the price you're paying for that camera is not going to pay out in the long run. So what you're going to want to do is you're probably going to want to buy an entry-level camera. And before you do that, I recommend you look at some of the used camera options and see if those work. So today I'm going to present you with three used camera bodies I recommend you buy for your first time camera, and three entry-level cameras that I recommend you buy. So these are pretty much in the same price range. However, when you buy used, you're going to probably be able to buy a little bit nicer than your entry-level cameras, and we'll see about this. So for example, this is the Pentax K20D. This is a camera which came out in 2008. This is personally the first DSLR I ever used or owned, okay? So this is a Pentax K20D, and what was so cool about this camera is it had image stabilization. One of the first cameras to have image stabilization, if you can say that 10 times fast. It also had a 14.2 megapixel sensor in it. So that was a pretty good camera for back in the day, when DSLRs were first becoming more and more capable of becoming something which you would use over an SLR camera. And now here is the Nikon D3400. So this is something you could buy used, and this is something you could buy as a new entry-level camera. Now in my last video, I did a review of this, or not a review, but just showing you basically everything you needed to do landscape beginner photography, and this included the Nikon D3400 as well with a bunch of other stuff. Now this is a beginning entry-level camera which you can pick up for around $400 to $500 depending on who you buy from, but this is a nice little camera. And compared to 2008's camera, this thing has 10 more megapixels and is a lot lighter with a higher ISO values and just a quick 5 frames per second versus I'm not quite sure how many frames this can do per second, but these are both nice cameras, okay? But here's the thing. So this is something you would buy used, and here's something you would buy as a new entry level. Now, a lot of people, they have this fear of buying used. They feel like when they go to purchase a used camera, they're going to buy something that's been damaged, and that's why it's used, and it's not functional. I don't believe in this personally. If you're going to go if you find a good deal on a camera body, research it, look at some pictures of it. Just, if you're buying on eBay, look at the pictures. If you're buying off Amazon, pretty much the description of the product is going to be what you get. It's going to be pretty good off Amazon. Now, a lot of people just don't like to buy a used product because they say, okay, somebody else owned it and they returned it, so it's not going to be good. That could be the case, but buying a used camera is going to be a lot cheaper for you than buying a brand new camera of the same body. So let's say you bought a Nikon D7200. The new body of that is going to be around $1,200, probably with the kit lens or something, versus a body which would probably be around $650. So if you buy used, your body's going to last forever. These cameras can last a long time. This camera is 2008. It's nearly 10 years later, 2017, people. This camera's still going. I can turn this on right now, and I can take pictures, and I won't be too messed up with it. It can do pictures, okay? So yeah, the camera still works. It's fully functional. I don't use it anymore because of the sensor size. This is the entry-level Nikon D3400, and you can pick this up for approximately probably anywhere between $400 to $500 depending on where you're buying from. So if you're buying from Amazon, you're probably gonna be pick that up for $450. If you're buying on eBay, probably even cheaper than $400. But just to keep it real, probably around $400 to $450 is what you're gonna be paying for this camera. Okay, so now these are this is probably the camera I'd recommend you pick up if you want to buy new, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I'm gonna talk right now about entry level or used cameras for your first camera. So I recommend at least one of these three bodies for you if this is your first time looking into purchasing a if this is your first time looking into purchasing a DSLR camera for yourself. So if you're moving up from a point and shoot, these cameras are going to be good for you. They're going to teach you all the dials and stuff you need to know, but it's going to be at a professional level. So if you like what you're seeing in that camera, you can then turn it into something different. So you could probably turn it into a business depending on how much you like it. It does take a lot of practice to become a professional photographer. There's a lot of techniques you have to learn. You have to learn ISO, f-stops. You need to learn a lot of facts, but these cameras are ready to do it for you. Okay, so the first camera I recommend, probably like my number one choice of buying used if you're ready to make that call, is the Nikon D7200. You just saw the picture of it. It's a nice looking camera. I like Nikon a lot. Nikon and Canon are kind of my two go-to camera companies, but I don't have any other problems, with Pentax or maybe Sony. But you can pick that camera body up for probably $650 to $800. So if compared to your entry-level camera, that's a pretty good price for the body. Now lenses, that's without. Sometimes you can be lucky and find a eBay seller who's selling you the kit lens. For example, like a 18 to 55 millimeter lens, which is a pretty standard kit lens. Then you'll probably get it for $650 with the lens. Now, $650 to $800 is a good price for DSLR camera. Knowing that it's bought from Nikon, the quality of it's going to last a long time. The shutter counts, probably I would try to stay under 20,000 shutter. I don't know, maybe 50,000 shutter counts if you're buying it used. It's not a new camera, so it's okay. Shutter count's probably okay for you if this is your first time camera. If you want something a little bit smaller, the Nikon D7200 is quite a large camera and weighs quite a bit. So it's going to be something around this size. I know you can't really tell how heavy this is or feel the size of this thing, but this is a pretty bulky camera. And sometimes this can get in the way of a lot of people who just want to point and shoot but want some more options. So if that's the route you want to go, if you want to have a DSLR-like camera, but you don't want to have the point and shoot quality, I recommend you go with a Sony a6000. Now this is a mirrorless camera and it's very compact. The picture I just showed you with the guy holding it is a very small camera, okay? But it can fit into a purse, into a back pocket, and it has unsurprisingly high quality megapixel. It has like 24 megapixels, I believe. So it's a pretty nice sensor in there. But the thing is with mirrorless, you don't have the reflective lens, so it's an optical eyepiece, which means you're going to be looking through like an OLED, like an LCD screen. And that's just going to be revealing what the camera sees through a sensor. So what I mean by that is if I was to take the lens off this camera, all there is to this camera is the sensor there. And as I push this button here, you see the mirror comes down. Now on a mirrorless camera, there's no mirror there. It's just a sensor and that's it. So autofocusing with these cameras is a little bit different, and the quality of autofocusing is probably not as good. So if you are buying a mirrorless camera for sports and wildlife, probably not a good idea. If you're just buying it to be a point and shoot, really good camera. The Sony a6000 can be picked up for around $350 to $500 used, and typically when you're buying these cameras used, they're going to come with a 16 to 50 millimeter lens, because that's what you get. Now you can buy it used, however, just to save time on this video, you can also buy it new from anywhere between $600 to $700, so that's a pretty good price if you ask me. So you can buy it new for $650, let's just say $650 for a new a6000, and around $425 for a used a6000. Now these are both going to come with a 16 to 50 millimeter lens, and that lens is pretty good for everyday life. Now if you're going to move up and you want to do some more advanced stuff with your with the Sony camera, I recommend picking up some other lenses, but that's not necessary if depending on what you want to do with it. If you just want to keep it as a basic point and shoot, that lens is going to be good for you. Now, if you're really interested in buying a nice camera that's going to last and take incredible pictures, okay, so rewind. Depending on who you are, if you just want to buy pictures and take pictures of your kids, this is a camera I would recommend you not buy for this. If you're somebody who wants to really get into the DSLR world and wants to get in there quickly, this is the camera for you, okay? The Canon EOS 5D Mark III, that's a mouthful, is the camera I would recommend you look at. Here are a couple pictures of it. It's very nice, and it's an incredible all-round camera. It has a 22.1 megapixel sensor in it, and the image quality from this camera is insane. I love it. This is probably the best Canon camera that's been designed in a while. However, I would say the EOS 5D SR is probably better. However, that is a lot more expensive and is brand new. Anyways, so the Canon EOS 5D Mark 1, 2, 3 is going to cost you around $1,500 used. This is a pretty good price for it. Depending on where you buy it, it's going to cost you anywhere between probably $1,200 to $2,200 used. And if you are interested in buying it new, it's going to cost around $2,000 to $2,500. Now, this camera only comes with the body, so you're not going to get any lenses with it. You're just going to get the body, and you'll have to probably pick out a lens system for you. You can also, you can buy different lenses for it, buy one lens for it, but this is a camera I'd recommend for the professional beginner, if that makes sense. So somebody who wants to step up their game with photography, but doesn't want to just buy it for a point and shoot. So we'll move the used camera out of the way, and we'll bring in the new beginner camera. So this is a sort of camera which is entry level, but has all the buttons and dials and options that your professional DSLR camera is equipped with. So whether or not you're going to be buying yourself an EOS 5D Mark III or a Nikon D3400, for example, these are going to do the exact same options. However, the 5D will look better. I've already mentioned the A6000 as a good buy new camera for this range, so we'll leave that out of here. And the two contenders which we have left are the Nikon D3400 and the Canon EOS Rebel T6i. Why they named their product so long, I don't know. But anyways, so this is the camera I'd probably recommend an entry-level user buy. It has a 24 megapixel sensor underneath its lens attachment here. And you can see that when we go into underneath, that's the mirror. But it has a 24 megapixel sensor under the lens, and it produces pretty incredible large prints, pretty high to large prints. So this is a nice sensor size here. Anything under 20 megapixels I'd stay away from. That being said, you don't have to, depending on who you are. Most times I'd recommend stay with over 20 megapixels, but if you're wanting to buy used, stay over 15, okay? Pretty much, just stay over 15 megapixels and you'll be good. Anyways, so this has a bunch of the features, like I said. So you have programmed aperture or program priority, then you have shutter priority, aperture priority, you have manual, so you can go into a bunch of, you can change your ISO manually, your exposure speed, or your shutter speed, your exposure correction, so plus or minus your exposure correction, as well as your f-stop. So you can get that shallow depth field or the perfect focus from 0 to infinity. So all the features are in this tiny little body here. This is a nice size camera, and it is pretty much a little bit bigger than the T6i, I believe. I don't currently have a T6i, obviously. I mean, I'm not going to go out and buy one just because, but I'm not going to go buy all these beginner cameras. I'm just going to buy one to show you guys. However, this is the camera I recommend you buy as a new entry-level camera. But if you are interested in buying a Canon, I go with the Rebel E or the Canon EOS Rebel T6i. Good camera for your price. You're going going to get a nice size 18 megapixel sensor in there. However, this one does have a 24 megapixel sensor, so I love the sensor in this tiny body, which is pretty incredible for the price you pay for this thing. And yeah, so you on the T6i Rebel, you will get a 18 to 55 millimeter lens, so it's going to be the exact thing as this. It'll be pretty much the same exact thing as this lens here. So it's a pretty tiny wide angle lens. Now, sometimes you will be able to buy a bundle which comes with a telephoto lens. Okay, whatever. You don't need that, probably. But the lens, 18-55 millimeters, is pretty decent for your beginner. If you are interested in stepping up, like I said, go to the EOS 5D Mark III. There are other cameras out there. I will list some of my, I'll list a couple other ones in the description box below. However, the ones mentioned in the video are the ones I recommend you buy. So whether or not you guys are interested in buying new or used, these cameras, DSLR is a great world to get into. It's a great hobby if you want to be in a hobby. If you're interested in becoming a professional photographer, starting with something small, working your way up to something great, investing in something expensive is always good too. So the DSLR is a world of new possibilities for your point and shoot artist. But anyways, guys, this is a video. I hope you guys liked it. Hope this was helpful. If you're interested in buying cameras, please visit the links below to see which ones I recommend. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good day. Peace out, guys.